Question 19. We've got a regular pentagon, so five-sided shape. These are straight lines. Okay. Work out the size of angle CFD. Right. So we know, because they're straight lines, that's an isosceles triangle. So that angle is the same as that angle. Now pentagon, we need to work out what one of the angles in the pentagon is. So we need to do n minus 2 times 180 to get the total. Remember, you can divide it into 3 triangles. So 3 times 180 is 540 degrees. So one of the angles, so let's label it EDC, is equal to 540 divided by 5, which is 108. And notice how I'm showing my method. So CDF is 180 minus 108. Because it's a straight line, we're told it's a straight line somewhere, so those two must add up to 180. So therefore, DCF is also 72 degrees. So therefore, what we have to do is we have to do 180, and this is for CFD, 180, take away 72, take away 72. Again, I'm going to reach my calculator. I think it's 36. It is 36 degrees. Okay, very clearly laid out what I've worked out each time, each stage. Okay, another ratio question. Kim, Laura and Molly share £385. The ratio of the amount of money Kim gets, the amount of money Molly gets is 2 to 5. Kim gets £105 less than Molly. What percentage of the 385 does Laura get? Right. So we've got the amount of money Kim. So we've got Kim to Molly is 2 to 5. Kim gets £105 less than Molly. So actually 3 bits. So what we can do, so we can do 105 divided by 3, which is 35. So therefore we can work out, so 1 bit is 35. So Kim gets 2 lots of 35. Molly gets 5 lots of 35. 5 times 35, 175. So actually between them, they get 245. So Laura gets 385 minus 245. 140. So now we know how much each one gets. What percentage of the 385 does Laura get? So she gets 140 out of 385. That will give you the decimal, so times by 100. Which gives you 36.36 or 36%. Okay. Question 21. The table shows information about the height of trees. Okay, Jacob drew this frequency polygon for the information in the table. The frequency polygon is not correct. Okay, well firstly, he hasn't plotted in the middle of the groups. Always plot in the middle of the group, so he should have plotted points in the middle. I'm going to run out of room. and then the points should be joined together with straight lines. And there are your 2 marks. So straight lines and points in the middle. Okay, don't forget you can't write under this line because they won't see it when they're marking it. Right, question 22. Right, now this is always a bit tricky because mine isn't actually the same size as yours. So let's just have a look. We've got the scale of 1 centimetre represents 5 kilometres. Now if we measure between L and H, we get a distance. If you print it out on A4, it will be a distance of 8.5. If you've done it smaller, you just need to measure that and then times by 5. So it's 8.5 times by 5, which gives you 42.5. Measure the bearing of H from L. Okay, so it's basically that angle there that you need to measure. So put your protractor on with 0 here. See where your line is, and the line should be on 110 degrees. And now the last bit, a boat B is 20 kilometers from H on a bearing of 40 degrees, or 040. On the diagram, mark the position of the boat. Right, well firstly, you need to get your protractor, mark the angle. So again, 0 here, 40 degrees, put your mark, and then we've got 20 kilometers, but each 5 kilometers is 1 centimeter, so we have to go 4 centimeters. So put your ruler on. I haven't quite marked it exactly on there. Put your ruler on, line up the points, and you go up 4 centimeters. So your diagram will look a bit like that. Okay, but obviously you need to make sure you've got an angle of 40 degrees there. And that's the bearings question. Blimey, another ratio question. A mixture of sugar and salt is in the ratio 3:2. The weight of the mixture is 150 grams. Calculate the weight of sugar and the weight of salt in the mixture. So, again, this is sharing in a given ratio. Add these two together, and then we do 150 divided by 5, which is 30. Calculate the weight of the sugar. Right, the sugar's got 3 lots of 30, and the salt's got 2 lots of 30. So 90 and 60. Right, now 30 grams of sugar and 10 grams of salt are added to the mixture. So actually we end up with 120 and 70. Calculate the ratio of sugar to salt in the new mixture. So actually it is 120 to 70. Okay, we could simplify. It doesn't say anything about simplifying it, but let's do 12 to 7. The mark scheme has actually divided these both by 7, so you've got 1 to 1.71, but it doesn't say anything about doing that, so that should be absolutely acceptable. Right, question 24. Find the highest common factor of A and B. Now, I would be tempted to put this in a Venn diagram because I find it's a lot easier to work with when you're doing a Venn diagram. So we've got A and B, common to both, 2 2s. B's got an extra 2. A's got a 3, and then we've also got 5 common to both. But A has got an extra 5. So the highest common factor comes from multiplying these together. So it's 2 squared times 5, which is 20. Now the lowest common multiple we get by multiplying all the numbers together. So 2 cubed times 3 times 5 squared. And that's definitely one for the calculator. That gives you 600. Quite a common type of question, those ones now. Right, so what have we got next? On a particular day, scientists recorded the air temperature at 8 different heights above sea level. The scatter graph shows the air temperature Y, and distance above sea level. Use the scatter graph, write down the air temperature at the height of 2.5. Well, 2.5, we've already got a point there, is 2. Describe the correlation between the air temperature and the height above sea. Well, it's going down, isn't it? So actually, it's negative. It's fairly strong negative, but just negative will be fine. If it was going up like that, it would be positive. Right, now, on the scatter graph, plot the point 1.5 and 8. So 1.5 and 8, and draw a line of best fit through this point. Okay, so we want to try and get on the scatter graph, plot the point and draw a line of best fit. Right, okay, so we try and get that. It's all gone wrong now. See if we can actually get that working best we can. You really want to get the same number of points either side, which we've kind of done. Use your line of best fit to find an estimate of the height above sea level when the air temperature is 0. Oh, I didn't bring the line down far enough. Hopefully your line would come down here. So I think between 2.5 and 3, so we really should be looking at about 2.75. And actually there is a range on the mark scheme of 2.6 to 2.9. So 2.6 to 2.9. So actually our line's not too bad there. And then, right, enlarge the shape with a scale factor of 1/2 and centre 1,3. So 1,3 is there. Now to do a half, I'm basically going to half the distance of every corner. So at this moment, this one is 4 across and 2 up. So I'm going to go 2 across, 1 up. This one here, 2, 4, 6 and 2. So I'm going to go 3 and 1. And actually each side is obviously going to be half the length. So your new shape actually ends up there. Okay, so that's half, scale factor of 1/2 from the centre, just by looking at the corners and basically halving that distance. One more question. Work out the size of the angle marked X. Right, so we've got a right angle triangle, so we need to use trigonometry. So we need to use one of our ratios. Now because we're working with the opposite and the hypotenuse, it's going to be sine of X is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So that's 0.5. So actually, we can do this on our calculator. X, remember when we do the angle, we have to do the inverse, that little -1 of 0.5. So X actually is 30 degrees. And that's the end of the paper. A lot of ratio there.